Nothing's important. Nothing's real. When you're inside a postmodern hell, there's no such thing as civil when hell is other people. You think you're something special? You just let out the devils. I want to see a guillotine. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden. And who was that?
That was 8 Graves, guillotine. Or I actually said guillotine wrong. That annoyed me. I wanted to say guillotine. Guillotine. That's how you say that. Guillotine. I want to see a guillotine. That's how I should have said that. But anyway, that is 8 Graves, who I think I actually used their lyrics last week too, maybe. Or another time recently. So 8 Graves, go check them out. He or she or they. Or them or they.
Well, welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast. Apologies that it was late. We had a little bit of a situation. We had a little bit of a vaccination situation. I can stop monitoring this now, so that's good. I'm sure it's going to be perfect for the rest.
Let us know if it's not.
Yeah, so let us know on the live stream if you've got questions and if you... well, that's it, really.
Yeah, no, if you've got questions or if you notice any tech issues.
Yeah.
Tech issues or questions. This is what we want to know about here. But yes, so I thought I'd open the show with a little bit of feedback from long-time listener Jamie Oxley.
Okay.
Jamie Oxley likes to... He cruises along the outback. Just him, the night sky, the horizon stretching on, and the dulcet tones of the Guy and Harley podcast in the cab of his truck. That's Jamie Oxley, and he tunes in, and he's got some feedback about us talking about COVID. So, seeing as we're going to be talking about COVID, I thought I'd jump right in with Jamie Oxley's feedback.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the Guy and Harley podcast anymore. It's more like a jab chat podcast. Let's keep the jab chat to a 5-minute segment, and I would like a sting for it when it's about to start, like the Uber files. Oh, I miss the Uber files. Oh, yeah, and Tinder files. More files, less jab chat. From your number one pro-choice, childish Aussie fan anyway. Stay safe, it's a jungle out there. P.S. I'll be timing jab chat from now on. I'll give updates on if you went over time. Jokes aside, keep up the good work. It's interesting to hear different views about life at the moment, even if I don't agree. So thank you, Jamie, for that feedback, and welcome to the new segment, Jab Chat. So
first on the agenda, I did have my second jab, so let's chat about it. So my first vaccination, I don't know about you, but my first vaccination gave me a slightly sore arm. My second vaccination gave me the same sore arm to begin with. And yet the following day I was like, I seem to have a very high temperature. And then the third day, which was meant to be the podcast day, I was like, I feel like absolute shit. And I feel like I've got the flu, but I don't have the flu. I've got sort of no energy, and I'm achy, and I'm still got that fever, and I'm not feeling amazing at all. I feel like I'm coming down with something. And the day after that, I kind of felt fine again.
Yeah, well, you weren't really that sick. Too sick for the Guy and Harley podcast, but yet the very next day we were filming for the Savage Filmmaker YouTube channel.
Back at it. Full day, a nice... Well, no, it probably wasn't really a full day. It was a half day. It was half day.
Half-day shoot.
All I needed was a day to rest and recover, a day's rest.
We'll post a picture from that shoot soon, actually.
On God's day, Sunday.
Yeah.
To recoup. So, yeah, I sort of felt like... I definitely felt quite under the weather that day, and I was just sort of lying about feeling sorry for myself. But then after that, I sort of I perked up again. So,
yeah. So overall, you've just had this moderately negative experience where you've felt a bit sniffly. He's a bit sniffly.
Yeah.
He's
got a little snotty nose.
But he's got a boogery nose. He's a little bit sniffly from saving the world.
He's had a little adverse reaction to saving the world and his loved ones.
So-
People he cares about. He feels a little bit achy now.
He's got an achy arm and a boogery nose, and he can't do his podcast. So now that you've been through that, though, that negative experience, would you do it again? Are you glad you did it? Do you wish you could turn back time, and never do it?
I wish I could turn back time and get it done sooner, because the big issue that I have is once you get the first one, you've got this thing over your head like, it's not very, like, it's like really
sort of effective,
but not really.
and I've already got the microchips.
Yeah, and so you kind of want to just get the second one, so you're all dosed up, and then they're like, it's going to be 6 weeks, and now they've changed it to 3 weeks. And it's just kind of this thing over your head, like, when did I get it? How long ago was that? When do I need it? If I take too long, will it become, like, was it a waste of time? Will I have to do the double dose again? So all of those things were kind of swirling in my head. But yeah, it was actually super easy to do as well. What I really enjoyed about this time, because this is the thing, is the only thing I like to be organized for is filmmaking. Every other aspect of my life, don't really like to have real concrete appointments and things like that. I find them to be very disruptive to the filmmaking, which is what I like to be organized about. So, if I have an appointment in a day, I find it hard to get other work done because there's an appointment looming. And it's kind of like, there's no point starting anything because the appointment's coming.
Because I've got to go out for 15 minutes
I've got
at 1 p.m.
Yeah, at 1 p.m.
I've got to do it.
4 hours from now, I've got to do something. So there's no point doing something now and then just break it all up at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Because then I have to leave 15 minutes earlier. So it's really half an hour.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes on the way back. So it's 45-minute round trip. No point starting anything now. May as well just watch YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's the reason that I don't really get anything done on appointment days. But the beautiful thing is now, because New Zealand is in a state of emergency, you certainly suggest, and certainly a state of lockdown, but we're trying to get the vaccinations up. We all want the vaccinations up so we can have some more freedoms. And to do that, we need to have vaccinations. So it was very kind of annoying. So the first vaccination originally was like, we're making an appointment, we're all gonna go somewhere and then take a bus to another somewhere and a bus back. And it was like, I don't give a fuck about all that. Why don't I get the car to the place? No, sorry, you've got to take a car to the bus. Then the bus is gonna take you to the stadium.
This for? To get what?
This was a mass vaccination event.
Yeah.
And so essentially,
it's weird that they'd want to put you all on a bus. Isn't that the opposite of what's good?
We're gonna take you. You're all going to go to this car park, but of course, there's not going to be enough parks.
We're going to put you all together.
There's not going to be enough parks, so you're going to have to find a park 50 miles away from the car park where you take the bus to get the vaccination at the stadium, 15 minutes away from where the bus is, 15-minute back, queue up there. Like, what a fucking nightmare. This one, I was, because it was just like, well, can't we just go straight to the to the vaccination?
Yeah.
No.
It's the type of thing that would put me off as well, to be fair.
And that was the kind of silliness that was prevailing at the time, but that was before Delta got out.
Yeah.
And now that Delta's out and about, they're like, oh shit.
We got the big D.
We can't have these stadium events anymore.
Yeah.
We can't have musicians doing stadium events. We can't have vaccinations at stadium events. So I was actually dropping off some film equipment for a job that I could not be a part of due to COVID-19. But I was dropping off the equipment for someone else. They were hiring it off me. And I literally just walked past at the same time a one that was like, vaccinations here. So I walked in and I was like, hello, I'd like to get my second vaccination, please. And they were like, okay, do you have an appointment? And I was like, no, I don't. And they were like, cool, take a seat. 1 minute later, I got my second vaccination. It was a very painless. Just sit over there for 15 minutes, see if you're all right. Okay, sat down.
There you go.
And there it was. So there's a lot of those. And I actually noticed another pop-up station like that when I was getting some bakery goods today. So they're all over the place. So it's very easy to do.
Easy.
So don't feel intimidated about the whole got to drive, catch a bus to a stadium. Oh, I've got to book in. Oh, you're scheduled for 6 months from now. Thank you very much.
I had to drive 45, I'm pretty sure it was like 40 or 45 minutes out into the burbs to get mine. Out into a marae, out in like South Auckland somewhere.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I had to do with the first time. They ended up shifting it to this airport drive-in one.
Yeah.
Which was better because it was drive-through. So you
Right.
just drove through, got the jab. But I still had to drive to the airport, which is like a 30-minute drive away.
Yeah.
So we're all vaxxed up. We're double vaxxed.
Yeah. It's good. Got to double bag it. I probably am due for my booster. Nah, not quite. But,
not quite.
but I got mine kind of early. I got mine early due to my special privileged relationship with Jacinda Ardern.
Yep.
And I got mine months earlier than lots of other people. Yeah, it was good to be me. Daniela on the live stream actually asked if I had any adverse reactions after my second one or whatever. So same with you. First one, sore arm, moderately sore arm. Second one, no real. I thought I felt okay. Guess I felt a little bit fluey kind of thing, or a little bit sort of, spaced out, I guess. And then that was really about it. I woke up in the night, and I was really, really cold that night. I woke up really cold that night, and I was like, gosh, I think I need another blankie. And so I went and got another blankie. And I'm
going to get a blankie. You're going to
save
save
the
the
world.
world. I need an extra blankie because I'm cold at night.
Cold because of the vaccine. And so I got up and I got myself a blankie, and the other thing too though was that it was actually a really cold night. So
it may have had
it might
nothing
have
to do with the vaccination.
It was just really cold.
It was just a chilly night. It
But-
was winter at that stage.
But it was winter. It was. But also I felt a bit achy in my muscles. I had
Yeah.
sort of achy muscles too. And so I was like, maybe what's all that about? This is the vaccine. But I had also been to the gym for the first time in 12 months the day before.
So that could it could have had nothing to do with the vaccination at all.
And I did a
Was
TRX
it-
class,
was
a quite intense TRX class.
You had sore muscles from the gym,
Yeah.
which you then attributed. Maybe
Yeah.
this is the vax.
It's the vax, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's about what happened to me. But frankly, in all sincerity, I'm glad I got it, and I would not go back and do it again. I would do it again, and I wouldn't go back and change a thing.
Also, I don't want to undermine people that had a more serious reaction, because even my girlfriend, she was sort of felt sick for like a week afterwards. And that would be what would be considered a more extreme reaction to the vaccination. But generally speaking, you'll probably be all right.
Yeah. Well, to Jamie Oxley saying, we got to keep the jab chat short. I'm not sure how long this jab chat's been going so far, but it's not finished. Because I understand what you're saying, Jamie, and you're probably right. But I also, and I also know it's stupid to ignore the feedback from fans, especially long-term fans like Jamie Oxley. So look, not everyone wants to talk about the COVID all the time and these bloody vaccines, especially if ideologically you're against the vaccines for some reason. You're like, that's not what I tune in for. I want some escapism and lightheartedness. I don't want to be reminded that I'm on the wrong side of history. That I'm completely wrong about something that's extremely important. But yes, and so we've got to keep talking about it, because we can't not talk about the biggest thing that's happening in our lives at the moment. We're still on lockdown.
Our film careers
Are on pause.
I was going to say, have come to a standstill, and it's due to COVID. It's got nothing to do with our personal.
No.
We're normally incredibly successful in doing things all the time. It's COVID that did it.
Well, this is a COVID ladder right here. Being in here in this lockdown, having access to all this gear and this
technology,
this ability to do this, it's pretty great, because we don't have to go to, I don't certainly have to go to any real jobs really. So we'll just sit at home, work from the computer, get shit done, shoot things, audition for things. So anyway, Jamie. So yes, that was all I was going to say about that. How are we not going to talk about it? Can't do that.
Yeah, well, look,
I do like the idea of having an intro title, a sting for it though.
Yeah.
Jab chat. chat.
Yeah, jab chat.
Is that
jab
how
chat.
it's going to be?
Well, I feel like because it's not really just about vaccinations, right?
No.
It's more about COVID as a whole.
So it could be COVIDiots.
Because we
the COVIDiots.
we
the
are
COVIDiots.
we're not really getting on top of this one.
No.
And it seems to be that unfortunately everyone did not listen to Harley's advice. Harley said on this show, he said all it would take is for 6 weeks everyone to stay at home. Dead. COVID's done, right? If we all do that. Now, what we're discovering on this lockdown is that people are not staying at home.
No.
And what happened, I think, what's the difference between this lockdown and last lockdown? Well, one thing you could say, well, everyone's sick of it now, right? So they're less likely to follow the rules, which absolutely I'm sure that is, part of the issue. But I would also say that the other issue is that that actually maybe there's about the same-ish people breaking the rules, except that because we have this now much more dangerous strain of COVID, which did not exist last lockdown and spreads much easier, the people that don't follow the rules are causing much more damage than when they didn't follow the rules the first time. And so what we're seeing now is a lot of people have gone rogue. They've traveled around the place and then they've been caught. And then they're like, I'm not going to tell you what I've done or where I've been or anything. I'm not even going to tell you who I'm with because I was also with someone.
Yeah.
And we'll let you figure that out.
Yeah.
And these are the things that are a bit concerning because also I want to be very clear is like Auckland is the biggest city in New Zealand and has been the one that affected most by COVID at the moment. Right? And has the most number of COVID cases, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm in Auckland, but I want my fellow New Zealanders to have as much freedoms as possible. So if we've got it, if it's our problem, I want to keep it our problem. I want to keep it contained within the boundaries of Auckland, here in the post-apocalyptic wastelands of Auckland.
Yeah.
Let's keep it in here. We'll try and deal with it as best we can. I want you, in
you Southerners,
or even in the Bay of Plenty or wherever, to go out, go to work, open up your store, do all the things, more power to you. And so I don't want us as bad Aucklanders to take away freedoms from other parts of the country. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this one, Harley, but there is a new op-ed piece in the Herald which discussed the idea that essentially the South Island will disconnect from the North on purpose because they're like, hey, motherfuckers, you got it over there?
They'll secede.
We good.
Yeah.
We good.
Yeah.
We good.
Yeah.
And so essentially they're gonna live like they don't have COVID because they don't.
Yeah.
And we can never go over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a whole bunch, like they asked a whole bunch of people, and I think like 2 mayors from like Christchurch and somewhere else was like, well, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, yeah, it is kind of a no-brainer.
By the same elimination strategy that the whole government's been going for this whole time, it
why
makes sense.
would we put our problems on the rest of New Zealand?
Yeah.
Why would we go, sorry, we've got it, so we've got to give it to you now?
Yeah.
That's not a good attitude.
Yeah.
So this whole idea of quarantine, so the quarantine zone is no longer no one coming into New Zealand. It's now no one going from port to port, from the South Island to the North Island. We up in the North Island are the COVID gang, and the people down south, they're good. And then obviously we have to do some stringent testing to get across. I kind of feel like it makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense.
I don't, obviously I don't want, I have all my family live in the South Island.
Yeah, I mean, I assume I'd just get back there. I wonder if it'll make South Island property prices rise, if they ended up sort of keeping a quarantine. If we just go, okay, cool, well, all of the North Island can keep it, and we're going to keep the South Island, separated.
It's an idyllic paradise down there.
It is. Well, I'd love to buy a house down there.
You tried.
I'm still trying. Still working on it. I actually got contacted by the New Zealand Herald somebody at the New Zealand Herald to do a follow-up story on my last piece about being a first home buyer, despite the fact that I have not bought a first home.
Yeah.
And while I am, interested, I'm not actively I'm not like out at the moment, like going to
Looking.
auctions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My mortgage isn't approved at the moment. I'm just saving and, working away at it, hoping to get there. So either way, I'll be doing a follow-up piece with that tomorrow. She's going to be giving me a call about that. So
Yeah, I feel like there's a movie in this whole
the media love me.
South Island thing.
Yeah.
It's like Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
Nobody gets in. Nobody comes out. Nobody goes in. Nobody comes out.
Apart from Oompa Loompas.
All right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Apart from the Oompa Loompas. Well, that's you and me, mate. So we'll move home to Dunedin. The Oompa Loompas. Yeah. Well, I do think it's quite an interesting time. I think the internet archaeologists will be looking with great interest at our generation. We are literally the class of 2000, and I think that's kind of interesting. And it's the turn of the millennium. We went from analog to digital. Which is huge, the internet to pre-internet world. That's a really interesting time to be alive. And now we're going through the world's, this huge global pandemic with a media that can cover it properly. And so there's just so much information and so much going on, and it's all very well documented. And so I think people are going to be looking at this time, and they'll be tuning in to the Guy and Harley podcast.
Well, I do feel very blessed to have the internet right now.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't have the internet, we wouldn't have this show.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have any source of entertainment because we couldn't go down to the DVD store to rent a DVD.
No.
Or I guess we could do it. No, it's retail, so it wouldn't be open.
Mate, what we'd be doing would be having fires in the backyard every sunny night.
Ugh.
There's nothing else to do.
Well,
Every sunny night. You heard me.
We'd be reading. I guess we'd be reading. We'd be rereading because we can't go to the library. We'd be rereading the books that we've got. Yep. Like the hardback books.
I do have a number of books.
I've got some books. So I'll be rereading all my filmmaking books right now. And I mean, I'd be playing my Super Nintendo,
Yeah.
or my Super Nintendo Mini. Chrono Trigger would be in full rotation. But yeah, I'd probably be finishing everything. Tyler Adams, shout out to Tyler on the live stream. He says he's paused his Jackie Chan marathon for this. We're better than Jackie. I don't know about that. Jackie Chan is an amazing actor, performer, director.
You read that wrong. It's jacking off. It says
pause my jacking off marathon. Huh.
For the yeah.
Thought he said Jackie Chan.
The podcast trumps jacking.
Off marathon.
But thank you, Tyler. That's a
Appreciate
huge
that.
sacrifice.
Yeah, huge sacrifice. Jackie Chan, best Jackie Chan movie, go.
You really threw me under the bus there on that one.
I know where you're going to go. I'm going to take a guess
on
what you're going to say.
Well,
because it's going to be the only one that comes to your head.
No, I literally don't know the names of any of them.
Not a single one.
Come
on.
Name a Jackie Chan movie, Harley.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan movie. Kung Fu Cop.
Think of all the Jackie Chan. You've seen movies with Jackie Chan
I've seen a bunch of his movies. But
we watched a whole heap of Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it was 20 years ago now.
Police is the police one.
Oh, you're close. But I can't give that to you. Because he's a police in
and a lot of them.
Like 70% of his movies is police.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there must be something more contemporary, some crap one that I've known that he's in, like Spy Kids or something, but not that.
Oh, you're close. But
but not that either.
I mean, you haven't picked I thought there's two super easy Hollywood ones. Yeah. So think Hollywood.
Well, there's the one where he does the drunken style. Right?
Again, that is actually a very good pick, but except that kind of sums up quite a few now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because he's dipped back into that a couple times.
Yeah.
Drunken Master 2 is his best one.
Well, I should have said Drunken Master. I was like,
Drunken Master, the first one is not his best one, but that's when he was just developing into Jackie Chan.
Mm-hmm.
Project A is pretty good. Police Story 1 and 2 are very good. And one of his first directorial debuts, Miracles, is also pretty fantastic. Those are the ones, but I thought for sure you were going to say Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights. And if you weren't going to say that, I thought doubly for sure,
Yeah.
you were going to say Rush Hour, of course.
Right, yeah. See, Rush Hour, I could picture his face and everything on the cover, but I couldn't remember the name. But I
Drunken
didn't watch
Master.
it. To be fair, I didn't watch that. I did watch Drunken Master.
Yeah, Police Story 1 and 2. Legend of the Drunken Master as it is known,
Yeah.
according to Tyler Adams. I always think of it as just Drunken Master 2.
Hmm.
Magical, Buster Keaton-esque comedy in a contemporary setting.
Hmm.
Some of his fight scenes have yet to be topped. Yes, I'm talking to you, Jet Li. And
Shout out to Jet Li. He tunes in.
yeah, Jet Li. He thinks he's the best. He is not the best. Jackie Chan is still the most creative with the stuff that he does. Although he doesn't really lay it on too thick these days.
Hmm.
I mean, he's like 65 or something now.
Do you think the 90s fashion revival and all that has been and gone? Has that already happened? You know how 80s got cool again, and for a while when we were in high school it was cool to have like flares, which is a bit 60s. You know, do you think that has the 90s already, did I miss it? Has it
You probably missed it.
do you think it's been and gone,
I think you might
or
have
do you
missed
think
it.
it's going to get a lot bigger? Because I feel like the Seinfeld look could become real cool. As in, like, you literally just walk around trying to look like, you know, sort of dressing how they dressed. And
Sneakers.
hair like that, sneakers and jeans.
Sneakers and jeans,
and
tucked
like
in
that
shirt.
type of like hair, which is kind of sort of a flat toppy type haircut that they all had.
Tucked in shirt.
Yeah, yeah. I really think that might actually come back in a big way quite soon. Just got a feeling.
Well, you're in for a treat, Tyler. He's about to watch The Legend of the Drunken Master 2, which is, still maybe his best. Pretty much maybe the best action comedy of all time. The 90s have definitely come back to some degree in fashion. I did look at like some meme that people were being angry that they couldn't call themselves 90s kids if they were, born in like the late 90s sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, newsflash, you're not a 90s kid if you're born in, 97 or something like that, you know.
Because you don't even remember the 90s.
You're a baby.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that's going to happen. I mean, at the moment, we're still in the 80s renaissance, right?
Well, it's been going for a long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is that for me?
Yeah, if you want.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, mate.
Well, I thought that was empty.
It is almost empty. Well, Stranger Things, every single fucking movie with a synth score.
Yeah.
I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Yep.
Tribute to the 80s.
Yep.
We didn't lean in hard enough.
No.
It's my only regret.
I did read a comment. This is not I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, but it is a piece of feedback on one of your films that I read today on the Pigville YouTube channel.
Okay.
This is on the trailer for Older. He says, the movie is well made, great acting, and emotional. It has its funny moments, its sad moments, and its uplifting moments. But like all movies, it's not... Well, wait. Uplifting moments. Full stop. Lots of positive stuff there. No, okay. But like all movies... It's not free from its predictable moments.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a well-rounded movie that deserves more recognition. So thank you to that commenter, whose name I forgot to write down. So shout out to you.
Shout out directly to you, that person that we do not know the name of.
I wish upon you many followers from this podcast. I wish that they find you and follow you.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's good. I just thought you might like to hear that.
I appreciate that. It's always good to hear good feedback. I did get an Instagram message from someone. He's like, I'm about to watch Older for the third time. One of my favorite movies. And I was like, appreciate that, brother. Appreciate that. Richard Lambeth, right wing Richard, has joined the chat side by side. So yeah, I guess
Tuesday roast.
I guess we should the Tuesday roast. We should talk. We've got a different setup today. We've got
We've moved the set around for the listeners listening, tuning in later to
we
the podcast.
knocked down a wall, built a new one, painted it, put some things on it,
Yep.
and set it up.
We've been slaving away ever since the last episode, and it's all for you guys, the Sifty 150. Everything's changed now. Trying this side-by-side look, I think it's good.
It's probably better.
I think it looks better on camera, but I like being able to look to you and have a proper conversation. Plus, I like that when we're on opposite sides of the tables, I can have my notes. I don't have to be like, oh, guy's reading my notes. He's going to see the punchline before I get to it.
I'm still not going to see the notes.
Well, no, but you could. Could happen.
Um,
Well, I murdered a rat out of mercy, a mercy rat killing.
Yeah.
Because the other day I was in the backyard and it was drawn to my attention by one of the listeners, shout out to one of the listeners, that there was a rat walking around, sort of laying around in the sun out the back there, dead. And so I went out to, take this thing away, put it in the compost was my plan, because I'm never going to use that dirt anyway. But put it in the compost was my plan, and then I went over to it, and it got up and started walking around, and it was covered in flies, and it was in the sun, and it was walking sort of drunkenly. It was a drunken master of a rat, and so and then it sort of lay down again and stopped moving again, but was still alive. Just sort of struggling through life. So I knew that a mercy killing was required. And I don't have any particular issue with rats specifically. And so, but I got the axe from the Asylum short film, the one that was actually used and by Richard Lambeth, listener and actor. And it ends up, or a version of it, a prop version of it, ends up planted in his back. And so we still have this axe. And so I got this merciful, famous filmmaking prop axe. What's a real axe?
The Shining axe. So I asked for the Shining axe, which is I guess an axe that you would see a break in case of fire axe. They don't have many of those sitting around anymore, but this is that style of axe.
No, it's not.
It is.
The red ones with the hook on the side, because they have the window. It's just a flat one. It's a flat wood chopping one.
No, that's an axe they use for fires. That's what it is in The Shining.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that's weird.
That's where
because
you
a
got the axe
fireman's
from.
axe. A fireman's axe is like it's got the hook on the back in that because they use it to smash in a door.
Yeah, it's got a hook on the
turn
back.
around. No, there's no hook on the back.
Oh, they fucked that up then.
No, there's no hook on the back. It's just a normal wood chopping axe, is what it looks like to me. It's not at all a fireman's axe, as far as
I did ask for the Shining axe.
So we'll have to see the Shining axe.
We're gonna Google it right now
because I was about to tell you pretty quickly if it looks like it or not. But so anyway, I grabbed this big Shining axe that we've got, and I stomped out to the backyard, a God of mercy, and my plan was to chop its head off. Yeah.
Does not have that hook?
No. No, you're thinking of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. I'm talking about Asylum.
Yeah, Asylum's got that axe too.
No, it doesn't. Asylum's got a different axe.
No hook?
No hook. No
I
hook,
asked
mate.
for the Shining axe.
Yeah.
And this is what these motherfuckers give me?
What, you wanted the Shining axe twice?
Yeah.
Because that was the Zombie Holocaust one, the fucked one. That was a real
the
piece
rubber,
of crap that kept on falling apart.
The made of plastic.
No, the one that somebody had made out of like 2 bits of cardboard. And it was like painted silver, but it wasn't an axe. I think maybe even Nick made it. It wasn't an axe. It was just made
Good
of
one,
cardboard.
Nick. No, it wasn't
look,
Nick who
Nick
made
did,
it.
or whoever it did it. They did do the best they had, I guess, with
and they
the
painted
resources
it
they
not
had.
well.
But it was silver, and it was just kind of cardboardy, and like you couldn't really hold it close to the camera, for example. The Asylum axe is not like that. The Asylum axe looks great.
Yeah, so there's nothing that will depress you quicker than when you get to set and you're like, cool, bring in the prop, bring in the hero prop. Bring in the key hero prop that we're going to see.
Here it is.
we're going to see for the rest of this movie.
Are you ready?
We're going to see it all the time. And it's very important that it looks really awesome or it'll completely destroy the believability and reality of this film and bring it to a standstill. Bring it in. And they bring in the cardboard axe.
The cardboard axe.
That's been painted poorly and is kind of mismatched and just... looks like it's going to literally bend and fall to pieces. And you're like...
It wasn't that bad when it came out, but as soon as it started getting used, it started falling apart. Because I remember, though, I had to like kind of keep it out of shot and keep it moving and kind of, I had to be real careful. Like when they're like, cool, now like use the axe. And then I had to be real careful or someone had to be real careful to, not break it. And it ended up being broken a bunch of times.
A bunch of times it got broken. It's like, we need to...
It had like a fill, like a polystyrene type fill squirt stuff inside it, I think. I think it was like 2 bits of cardboard with some sort of fill inside it, like, filler stuff and glued together and painted silver.
But this is an
as
axe
soon as
that
it got hit once on the
someone
ground,
is going to carry with them
yeah,
for like 30% of the movie.
yeah,
And
yeah.
they're going to just be holding this.
Yeah.
And that whole 30%, and we're like, well, we care.
I don't know if I remember if I got to use it. Maybe it was Josh.
Josh
that
got
was
to
using
use
but
it.
I remember swinging it around, and you couldn't put it in you couldn't hit anything with it, or you couldn't, you had to be super gentle with it, which obviously affects the performance when you're like, ha! So.
Good props are really important.
Well,
guys.
they are.
Good props are really important.
Shout out to Runs with Scissors, who makes great props and
He
made
does.
a great zombie arm.
The best prop that
on
that
one.
and we had.
I don't know. He hasn't tuned in yet. But
we used multiple times because it was so
He took
good.
it back in the end. I wish we still had it. I'm
Well,
sure
part
we'd
of
use
the
it for a
part
million
of the
things.
part of the agreement was that we had to give it back.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah. Well,
And we did keep
And it
hold of
was
it
a
for
little
like
bit
an extra
broken.
year.
it was a little bit broken. One of the joints inside the arm
because
got
people
broken
kept
as well.
mucking about
People
with it.
keep on using it to make it look like it's jerking them off.
And then, of course,
There was-
suddenly
there was-
our joints went floppy because people would
Believe me,
overuse.
Yeah, to make it look
They'd
like
done
it's
too much
jerking
of
you off.
this.
Yeah,
And then it just essentially broke the
Yeah.
arm.
yeah, yeah. But it was a great prop.
Yeah.
So I went out and I went to chop this rat's head off. I don't really know how much blood was going to be there, so I put a hood over my head, had some eyeballs, so I looked like a real executioner, but it was a plastic bag, so I looked like a fucking moron. And then so I chopped it, and I sort of missed the head, and I just chopped it in half, right down the back. Yeah. But he was pretty much dead. Like that was a death blow for sure. And then so I ended up having to hack at him another 3 or 4 times to really make sure quickly and efficiently that he was dead. And then I buried him with full honors in the backyard.
It's quite fascinating. I actually saw, we talked briefly about In the Earth, the movie, the other day. And I said it wasn't an amazing movie, but I did like how it talked about COVID. But it's basically about these people that go out into the forest to do some research, and then they encounter a madman, right? And what happens is one of them, this is not a huge spoiler, but one of them gets an infection from cutting their foot, right? And so they've got to cut the foot off. And so the madman is cutting the foot off, and he's like, all right, just stay still. All right, just stay really still because I've got to cut this off. And he's like, yeah, and he misses and only kind of chops a small bit of it off. He goes, "You fucking mate, you did that. You flinched, and now I fucked it up. See, God, fuck, now I've got to do it again."
Yeah.
And the guy's like, "Oh God, no!" And I thought that was kind of brilliant because it's actually very hard to really aim an axe very precisely to chop something off at an exact point. If someone's fidgeting about.
Well, especially if you're not the manly rural type. If you're one of us inner city hipsters, we're hipster filmmakers from the inner city. We don't know how axes work.
Tyler on the live stream says that he showed his 20-year-old brother I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and he now often quotes it, saying, "It's just a semi." So, good stuff. Appreciate that, Tyler. Tyler did not all of them. He did some very significant visual effects work on I Survived a Zombie Holocaust. Part of the reason it is released today is in part thanks to Tyler Adams. So I appreciate that, Tyler.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Oh, it's not a big spoiler. Yeah. So he killed the rat.
Oh, that was it. That was really the end of the rat. That was the end of the rat story, but it was just a manly moment. Yeah. What else you got?
Well, we did do a we did do a shoot yesterday. We did do some filming.
80s shoot.
80s filming for a skit that will be ready in a month at this rate. And so it's very so it's basically about time travel in the 1980s. But what I was reminded on this shoot was how much I hate technical filmmaking. What I don't like about the filmmaking process, because filmmaking is by its nature quite technical. You got to put a camera in a certain place, you got to get a certain angle, you need lights and stuff to make it look good, all that sort of thing. And what you find as you when you start filmmaking, it's just you and a camera, You just turn it on. Okay, we're ready to go. How does the shot look? Oh, yeah, I reckon it looks all right. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. As you progress through filmmaking, you go, okay, well, no, we can't film like that because we need a different lens. And we can't do that because actually the sound is slightly out of position. And we heard a truck go past. And we can't go now because the sun has just come out and it's creating a nasty bit of, it's blowing out the side of his head, you know, overexposed. And we need to bring in a couple of lights. But you took a step forward there, so you went out of focus. Well, you took a step backwards there, and we kind of lost you in the light. We didn't really see you. And suddenly, what was this kind of fun experience where you just go, cool, let's shoot it, let's just see what happens, becomes very rigid and restrictive because of the way that you want to shoot something to make it look really nice.
Yeah.
And
You've got to compromise your acting too sometimes.
And you have to, that's a huge point because, you know, what are we worrying about? Was it the take? Because
the take was brilliant every time.
But unfortunately, we had
a bird.
A bird chirping in the
continually,
background.
A bird that liked to follow and land and then chirp right next to us. A beautiful song, you know, it's a beautiful song and a lovely, lovely bird.
So Harley threw a stick at it.
Not near us.
So Harley
so I did. I
bravely threw a stick at it.
Okay, I didn't throw it at it, all right? I learnt my lesson about that many, many moons ago on the beach. As a young man, we were trying to film something and there was some seagulls which wouldn't be quiet. So I picked up a rock and I hiffed it. It was the seagulls are miles away. They were pretty far away. I was not like, I didn't think I was going to hit these seagulls or anything like that. I got a rock and threw it towards them. But I did obviously aim for one. I was like, I'm going to aim for that one, you know? I'm not going to get it. Well, I smacked a rock right into him. And it fell over.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember that? And I ran over to help it. I was like, oh, fuck, what have I done? I did not mean to hit that. You know, have I broken its wing? What have I done to this poor thing? So I ran over there, and, you know, it was like Baywatch. I was running down the beach towards the seagull. And then as I got there, it got up, and I was like, I'm here to help you, dude. And it was like, fuck you, man. You just fucking threw a rock at me. And then he flew away. And I was relieved because I was like, well, if he can fly, he can't be too bad. But
he flew away to die somewhere else.
Well, that's also very possible. And so anyway, the point is that I learned that with great power comes great responsibility. And I am good at everything I try. And so I've got to really do my best not to hit the bird, for example. So I learned from that. I took a very light stick. It was all rotten, and I threw it in its general direction, and did not
hit the bird.
Not even nearly.
But the bird did go away.
The bird went away.
And so, yeah,
sign language. We were using sign language, if you think about it.
That particular shoot annoyed me because of the technical restrictions imposed upon us. And sometimes that shit really fucks me off because I like to be a bit more loosey-goosey with filming. I don't like to get into these... Sometimes you get on rails. We do a wide, medium, tight. You know, well, we can't shoot there because, he's out of the light. We can't shoot there because he's out of focus. Oh, well, we can't shoot there because we could see that thing in the background that's not the 1980s. And so all of these things kind of combine to have us just kind of standing, peering over a teleprompter, doing our lines to each other. And it's not the organic, natural feel that you necessarily want. And sometimes a lot of the times I understand that you have to play the game, right? So you want all these things because ultimately no one knows about all this bullshit that you've dealt with. All they see is the beautiful image that it produces and the fine acting performance of this well-lit gentleman and the quality sound because you can hear him properly because he paused for that truck that went past, right? Yeah. So... I see the benefit to all of that, but sometimes I'm just like, fuck's sake, can't we just all have a laugh and just fuck around?
Well, you can, mate. The way you do that is you get a good location, like a controllable, you get a studio or something like that. You get a studio.
I agree.
And then you can just turn on the lights.
Go and film on Shortland Street. Yeah, that's how you can do it. You just fuck around if you're on Shortland Street.
If you're on Shortland Street, just do it. So you just got all the lights, they're all set up. The sound's set up. It's a completely controllable environment. You film and it's absolutely silent. It must be a dream to be a soundie on Shortland Street.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
There can't be that much noise there, right? They're in a big studio. If they're filming on a set, on a studio, surely it's pretty quiet, generally speaking.
So I am definitely a big fan of, how can we sort of loosen that up? So with Older, I was very focused on that idea of how can we have some freedom when we shoot these scenes. Because on the zombie film, we certainly had some restrictions, but we had a little bit of freedom. But I find that the better that you want the film to look, the more restrictions you're going to have. So the more kind of locked in you get. And that's what I don't really like. So I'm always trying to think. But, the other big thing is that this is all relative to low budget filmmaking. Because on a big budget filmmaking, if a truck goes past, who gives a fuck? I'll record it later in our massive production studio ADR booth that I go into to record for 3 weeks at the end when I re-record 70% of my lines that we have, $100,000 budgeted for. If he goes out of focus, well, who gives a fuck? We'll just refilm it on our pickup days that we have scheduled in for a week at the end of this 300-day shoot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, the lighting doesn't quite work. Okay, let's bring in the big ass fucking 2K lights and we'll just make everything wider and we'll just do it. Oh, it doesn't look like 1980s. We'll bring in the fucking props master and get him to put some 1980s shit behind you.
Get him to cast Guy Pigden as an extra.
Get him,
Have him walking around in the background.
Put that 1980s shit behind him and let's get on with it. Oh, the sun's too bright. Well, get up the big fucking diff, get it way the fuck up there, and we'll block out literally this fucking whole...
We will block out the sun.
We'll do the whole street. Let's just block off the whole street. Set it all up. Oh, that extra is not doing some funny stuff. Fire that cunt and bring in someone else and get him to fucking walk silently in the background if he's making too much noise. There's so much freedom that you have when you have resources. But then all of these things you then have to start accommodating for and tiptoeing around because you don't have any of them, I couldn't really, the sound wasn't very good on that one. Well, that's because the sound guy is a boom pole and a C-stand that we have set up and the director/actor has pressed record on and is listening to simultaneously while trying to act opposite the performer. Don't move a little bit to your left, Harley, because then we'll lose your audio. I guess I'll just stay rigid right here on these fucking marks then. So that's the kind of stuff that you have to deal with on low-budget films that as the budgets go up, they become less of a plane went past. Oh, we'll fix it. We'll fix it later. I guess plane went past. Oh, there's something in the back. All right, we'll get the VFX guy to comp that out. No worries. Sorry, Tyler.
Well, sorry, Tyler.
Did you film the rat, Harley?
No, I didn't film the death of it in an exploitative manner. I would not, for example, film the death of a human if there was a car crash. I wouldn't film it, despite the fact that I could put it up on rotten.com or one of those places and get a bunch of views. I don't film people dying or rats dying.
You only murder people in private.
I think it's it's really important that you don't murder people
in public.
Not for exploitative reasons.
You don't promote it.
Yes, and so
do
it's
it
the
in
same
secret.
with the rat. No, but I didn't. I kind of thought, because it's quite post-worthy. There's many ways you could post that, but I was like, I don't want to celebrate the death of this rat. Really, he didn't do anything to me.
Richard says it's quiet, just chat from the crew, but also noise isn't a major issue on soaps. They work with it.
Richard's talking about being a soundie on the set of Shortland Street, of which he is the star. And I actually do have a real pet peeve when crew are talking through takes and shit. I fucking... No, it is annoying because you're like...
It actually makes me really angry.
Yeah. No, well, it's because we're all here. We're all here for that... For
One
the same reason.
fucking moment when the actor is in the zone
when
doing
everything's
it.
ready, yeah.
Let's not step on that.
Yeah.
Because you have, if you think about a crew, a shoot day, right? Well, we say 90% is not rolling, or 80% is not rolling, with 10 to 20% actually rolling the cameras. Can we not keep all our fucking conversations in that 80 to 90% bracket? Do we really have, hey, what's going on? Hey, what are you getting for lunch? What's for lunch? Hey, do you know what's for lunch? Hey, did you read the call sheet? No, I didn't read the call sheet. Was there anything important on it? I think you had to bring like a lot of props or something. Okay, I didn't bring those props.
Well, that's
Can
an
you
important
just shoot
conversation
off?
to
Can
have.
you shoot off just now while we're rolling and he's in the middle of this emotional scene? Can you just shoot off and grab those props that I forgot? Okay, thank you. Yeah. Start the car now. So, yeah, that's how I feel. And Tyler says he just quoted a dude for a gig where he shot up all scenes, over-the-shoulder reverse shot with glaring sun stripe on the out-of-focus actor's head. So he needs the light shaft painted out. See, if I was that
It's out of focus head.
that's such a interesting VFX fix. What I would do in that situation, I would never even consider that as a VFX possibility. I'd be like, all right, I guess I am cropping in so it's no longer an over the shoulder and it's just a single on that person because I can't afford to paint out the light shaft on someone's head. So this shot has just become something totally different. Speaking of shots, I also filmed one of the in that shoot that we did. I filmed one of the ugliest looking shots that we've ever shot in the history of Pigville.
Seems a little dramatic.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah?
You know how I fixed it?
How?
Cropped in.
Yeah.
So there's a lesson in that, but I was just discussing with the DOP earlier, Isaac Newcomb, our DOP. I was like, this is my mistake because I said this was okay, but this is just a mistake that we can never repeat again because this looks so fucking horrible compared to the rest of this high quality looking skit, this very high quality looking skit. This looks atrocious. Absolutely. I was like, this looks like when you a film school short film when their first shot that they ever do. That's what it looked like, and that was ironically a wide over the shoulder shot of both you and I that I felt that way about. Fucking horrible.
Seems a little dramatic.
Once your standards get to a certain point,
Yeah.
you want to stay at those standards.
Yeah.
Don't want to dip back.
Okay.
Don't want to dip back.
Well, speaking of showbiz, I had an audition. It was a self-tape audition, and I've said on this show before, I'm pretty sure, that I don't really like doing self-tape auditions.
Yep.
Or maybe I've just complained privately to you, actually.
No,
I don't know if
you've
I've said it on
definitely
the
said
show.
that on the show.
Well, so I don't really like doing them because the auditions are already quite a pain in the ass. You know, you've got to take time out of your day. You got to go somewhere. You got to do a thing.
Doing your job is difficult.
Well, that's the thing. Job implies pay, and if you're not getting paid for 99.9% of all of the auditions you're doing. So you're not getting paid. So is that a job? I'm not really sure. I guess it is. Depends on your definition, but it's certainly not my main job. And so, yeah, there was, what the fuck was I going to say about that? Oh, yeah, so 99.9% of these auditions, I don't get them anyway. So I don't really like the self-tapes because you got to set up the camera, you got to do the stuff, and then you got to do the editing and the compressing and the sending. And, the main thing really is the lack of direction. You're kind of like, cool, well, I guess I'll just like have a go at this with absolutely no idea of what they really actually want. Because normally you go into the room, there's a person there who goes, oh, this is how you're doing it. And what you do is you read the script beforehand, and half the time you read it and you go, oh, yeah, cool, I totally get it. And then you practice it one way, then you walk in there and you go, da-da-da-da-da-da, and they go, oh, no.
We were thinking the opposite of what you've meticulously planned.
Everything you've just done is the exact opposite of what we had imagined and what we are planning to do. Can you change that all on the fly right now and not do it that way? Inevitably, that's when I bomb immediately, pretty much. But yes, so anyway, you normally get some direction at least, which is a good thing because you can, you know what to do with it. And so here I am shooting things, editing things, sending things with no direction. Don't really know if it's gonna, if I'm even doing what they really want. And then 99.9% of the time you don't even get it anyway. So I don't really like them. But well, in this post-COVID world, I guess I don't really have much choice.
Well, that's all the auditions you're going to be doing.
Because, my agent's called me 3 times with auditions since this lockdown, which is pretty good. I shouldn't be turning my nose up at anything. But I did tell KFC and McDonald's that they can finger lick my McDick. Finger lick my McDick.
Well, you said that to KFC.
No, I also say to McDonald's as well, because I don't audition for KFC, McDonald's, Burger King, or any of the the really shitty ones.
But
right?
haven't you auditioned
so they can
for them
finger
in the
lick my
past?
McDick? No, I did up until a certain point, and I always felt bad about it. It always made me feel dirty, and I never felt like, oh gosh, I hope I get it. I always felt like, God, I hope I don't get that. And one time I got on the short list, and so I had to do a callback for it, and I was like, actually, there was a very real chance that I was going to get paid like, I think it was like $3,500 to do a McDonald's ad that was only going to be on TV for 3 months. It was a short 15 or 30-second ad, and it was for the McFish. So it wasn't quite as bad as like the McBeefy ones, in terms of my environmental objections. Like, no, don't get me wrong. What we're doing to the oceans is just as terrible, but I feel like a McFish has less environmental impact than a Big Mac, but I could be wrong. But so anyway, these were all reasons why I sort of thought, well, I could maybe just do this. But I knew I didn't want to do it. I was like, man, I hope I don't get this, even though I totally could. And it's not really a big sacrifice. And so I told my agent, no, don't put me forward for those. But they put me forward for a KFC one last week, which I had to politely decline. But maybe with this new post-COVID world, I'll have to swallow my pride and my moral objections if I want to succeed. And I'll just have to take every KFC ad I can get my hands on.
Well, I've just got a live update on the show.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to read this.
All right.
Dear Guy.
Yeah. Is this a Facebook? Because is this about passwords?
No.
Okay. All right.
Dear Guy, thank you for submitting your project to Monster Fest.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, we are not able to include it in our program this year. Please know that your project was carefully considered by our programming team, and the decision was incredibly difficult, to say the least. Unfortunately, not all of the wonderful projects we consider can be included, and we're forced to make many difficult decisions each year. Thank you again for sharing your project with us, and we wish you the best of luck, and we hope you have the opportunity to view your work in the future. Sincerely, Monster Fest.
So was that for Stay at Home?
It was.
Yeah.
Stay at Home will be staying at home by the look of things.
This film is going to stay
It'll
at
be
home.
staying at my home because
Yeah.
it won't be getting into any festivals if the recent round of festival submissions are anything to judge by.
Bang that puppy up on YouTube.
It will be. That is sort of essentially the final
Distribution
frontier.
plan.
Or it is absolutely the distribution method is
Yeah.
to chuck it on YouTube. It's more just kind of dipping the toe in the waters of festival potential first.
I think that's a good idea.
Because you never know.
No, exactly. If it gets
Although-
into one festival or wins one award,
Yeah.
that looks great.
Although it is disappointing when you do know after you've paid the money for the festival submission and you know that it's not in.
Yeah.
And that is what I am knowing recently about it.
Well, I heard a rumor recently of glimpses and festivals.
That's true. Glimpses, the project about my uncle who passed away in 2019.
Yep.
So Glimpses is a documentary. It's a documentary sort of about MSA, which is multiple system atrophy. And it's basically about what ultimately turned out to be the last few weeks of his life. Or we didn't know that when I was filming, but he passed away about 2 weeks after I finished filming. And this documentary sort of is written in his voice, as in the script is his own, and it's his sort of thoughts and feelings, and essentially he wrote a script, and then I asked him another series of questions around, the disease that he was battling, how he felt about certain things, and then I incorporated those into the script, and then we got interviews from his family and his friends, and that sort of shed a bit of light on him as a person and his experience. And this is called Glimpses, which again is what he named, and it is finished. It has been finished for a few months now, and I've just been sort of submitting that to different festivals, and we recently got accepted into a festival. I actually can't remember the name of it now, but
You literally can't remember the name of the festival. That's the news. That it's made
it got into a festival.
It's made it into a festival. There you go. Good.
Our festival.
Yeah.
It was one of the festivals. So
it was like Cannes.
Well, so here's the
Film
big
Fest-
problem. Is like it got into a festival, so that's good because it means that it can now be logged in IMDb as official thing.
Yeah.
It's good because I can say that it got into a festival. It's not good because it's not it's not necessarily in competition at the festival, and it won't necessarily have a screening at the festival. If it gets selected, which it has been, it doesn't mean that it's actually screened at that festival. Only
Right.
the competition finalists are screened at the festival.
Mm.
So that's why I'm not really beating the drum about it. But
We should post about it, though.
well, I guess I should. I'm just a little bit. I don't want the floodgates to open.
Mm-hmm.
The pity floodgates to open. It's such a very personal story that I'm not sure about exactly how to say, hey, this is finished and, you know, it's now sort of in festival consideration, or whether I simply wait till after that process, after that's all done, and go, hey, this is the story, and you can see it on YouTube, or you can see it through our distributor, or whatever that may be. And so I'm just a little bit, because it's not so much about me, but it's about the family. And as soon as you sort of start going public about this festival and, hey, it's going to be here and all this sort of thing, suddenly they know that, right? The family, are aware of that and are aware that kind of their personal story is now out in the world. And I'm just a little hesitant because this one is not being screened, so it's not something that I necessarily need to announce. Now, it was screened privately for the MSA Defeat MSA Alliance, which is the charitable trust that contributed money. It was just recently screened, I think, last weekend there. So I hope that also went well.
To an audience of who?
So to an audience of everyone that is part of that, I guess, charity drive.
Yeah.
And all the people that are members of the trust.
And where was this? What country was this in?
So this was in America. So this was screened, via a private link as part of an MSA conference.
I see. So it wasn't a screening somewhere.
It wasn't a screening somewhere.
I'm with you.
And
what'd they say?
Well, I don't know.
Right.
Because
no feedback. Zero feedback.
Zero feedback on that.
So they paid for it, and then they watched it, and then they had nothing to say about it.
Oh no, they watched it, but they watched it quite a long time ago, and were like,
and haven't seen anything yet.
And we're like, thank you. We think this is really good.
Oh, there you go.
We
That's what I'm asking.
want to screen this at this particular thing, this event that we just did. Can we screen it there?
Yeah.
I said, yes, you can, of course.
Yeah.
And so we're very excited to screen it. Do you have, poster, trailer, all that sort of thing? And listener of the show, Sam, created a trailer for it as well. So all those pieces have been brought together. It's just a matter of it's not something I guess I feel as comfortable peddling just as a promotional piece of content because of the serious nature of the documentary.
I'm with you.
So it's not something that I kind of just, hey, like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Or
I guess it's also potentially quite a painful reminder all the time for people, obviously.
For the whole family.
So it's like,
so
you want to be posting about it all day.
So, yeah, it's not something that, even though I'm very proud of the documentary and I hope that the story gets out there and becomes...
It made me laugh and it made me cry.
Isn't that all you want in a film?
Yep. And it's a story,
maybe you just want to be made to laugh in a film.
No, not if you're watching a medical documentary, about a very serious disease.
Yeah. So official selection to Docs Without Borders, my girlfriend T-Bird has just advised me. Docs Without Borders was the festival it got accepted into.
There you go. Shout out to Docs Without Borders.
But yes, so that's why I'm not necessarily hitting the campaign trail, so to speak.
I'm with you.
This one. And also the other thing is, for me, it's not something that I it's a very painful thing. It was a very painful thing for me to film. It was a very painful thing for me to co-edit. It was a very painful thing to kind of create all these things around it. And so it's not something that I always love revisiting. Even, when we were working on the trailer, Sam did an amazing job creating the trailer. And it's, I would sometimes put off watching his cuts for a period of time because it's just hard. Because this is, someone I care about and love and who's not with us anymore. And so there's a weight of responsibility of telling his story. There's a weight, an emotional weight of all the people. This is my mum's brother, who's no longer with us, and who died tragically very much too early and in like really pretty uncomfortable conditions, and has left behind a young family, a young daughter, and a wife. And so all of those things kind of play into the fact that I'm not necessarily like, check out this doc, guys. I want to wait for the right time, and I want, to, preface all of that stuff that I've just sort of talked about here on the podcast, rather than it just being some random thing, you know.
Well, good. I'm glad I brought it up.
Bring down the tone. Bring down the tone and tenor.
Yeah. No. Well, this is a filmmaking podcast.
This is a podcast about our lives.
And so that's what makes it great. Those wee moments of sincerity.
Amongst all the false bullshit.
all the misinformation
that we normally peddle here on the Guy and Harley podcast.
Well, I had bubble tea for the first time today.
How was that?
That was good, thanks, mate. Shift the gears. But no. So look, it sounds pretty good, right? Like iced tea with, mystery bubble balls in them. It sounds good. Mystery bubble balls of like jelly stuff. That sounds pretty good. But really, it was just a cold cup of tea with mystery slime balls in the bottom. That every time I took a slurp, I got a mouthful of these slurps.
Why did you decide today was the bubble tea day?
Well, I had been curious, but it was also suggested by one of the 5150 listeners. Shout out to that 5150 listener.
Anonymous? 5150 listener? Completely anonymous? 5150? I mean, we talk about the 5150 listeners all the time.
Yeah,
I mean, right wing Richard, Jamie Oxley, Tyler Adams. You're not going to shout out the 5150 listener in question?
The 5150 listener suggested... that and so
their fucking taste is horrible is what you're saying.
no look, it just wasn't really that great. So it just wasn't that great, these bubble teas. Yeah, so I don't know, it was all right.
Have you watched the Squid Game yet?
Yes, I have watched the Squid Game.
How'd you like it?
Well, are we going to talk spoilers or not? Because I feel like it's
a little fresh.
It's a little fresh. I feel like we shouldn't talk spoilers. I feel like a lot of listeners out there probably are looking to watch it, they're meaning to watch it. And so yes, maybe we can't talk spoilers, but I have finished watching it, and you were right, and whichever listener recommended we watch it was also right. It was great. It was a great show. Really kept me on
the edge of your seat.
Engaged. Eager to tune in. The next day as well.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Did you like that remake of Battle Royale?
Yeah, well, it was. No, it definitely had some similarities, and there are some accusations going around,
right?
And I also read something saying that he originally had pictured them in like kind of a school type uniform,
a battle royale school setting.
type uniform. Because the thing is, right, it's set around these games they played as youths, and so it makes sense that they would be wearing school uniforms if that had not already been done. Like there's just been done, well, not just been done, but sort of been done by a very famous and much adored film,
The Hunger Games. I believe you're referring to the Hunger Games.
The book was quite good. I read the first book. I quite liked it. I watched the show of the Hunger Games. I was like, I couldn't watch the rest.
Of course, deadly games, essentially, deadly games for adults is not a new concept.
No. The Running Man.
Battle Royale, the Hunger Games, the most dangerous game. Like, this is like well-worn territory. But that's the thing about great stories, is that if you put an original spin
Gladiator.
on it, if you it's kind of true. if you put an original spin on it, if you have a unique take on it, you know, all stories are not necessarily new. So Richard says everybody has seen it. Well, it's probably true that, I mean, I did a poll with my students, they'd all seen it, pretty much.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, I'm the
if it is a
anti-spoiler guy.
must-watch.
I'm the anti-spoiler guy, and it takes me ages to get around to watching things, but I don't want people walking around just telling the endings of shows and shit.
What I love, though...
I'm listening to a podcast about filmmaking. Now I've got to tune out because I didn't get around to seeing that show yet. Fuck Guy and Harley. Fuck them.
Well, I think that, yes, it's definitely worth your time if you haven't seen it. And yes, it is reminiscent of all those things that we've talked about. But it does have a good, unique spin on it. But it's all about what will you do for money? How far will you go for money? And what circumstances are you in that means that, you know, facing those money responsibilities or facing the potential of dying, you're going to choose the potential of dying to get out of those things. And it's all, and, you know, class, what money means to people. And, you know, there was some very nice reflections on all of that. And that, I think, is what made it great. And, you know, as well as, you know, well-rounded, interesting characters and all that sort of thing. But we will, one little spoiler.
Oh, no.
Here we go.
Well, tune out for how long? How long is the spoiler going to take you?
No, not very long.
What, 30 seconds? Should they skip forward 30 seconds or 5
I
minutes?
don't skip it. All I'm saying is they discover that these games are deadly, right? These are deadly games, right? And many of them decide to continue on. And I think that's fascinating. And so they all have different reasons for wishing to continue after realizing that they could die playing these games.
Well, that's totally a spoiler. That was
This is
something
a
they
very
would
fucking
have
moderate
liked to
spoiler.
enjoy as they go.
But I just think it's interesting because I feel like the way that they explained that.
If we had somebody, a technical producer, we'd have a poll going right now. And people would say Team Harley or Team Guy in terms of, like, you know, spoilers, or if it's a spoiler or not.
That's a half spoiler.
Half spoiler.
But I do think that concept is, what will you do for money and why? And what does the weight of those financial responsibilities sort of, what does that mean to your life? So yeah, lots of good stuff in there.
Yeah,
Well,
great show.
Great remake.
Yep.
Great remake. Exceptional Battle Royale remake.
Yeah.
Really took it in some different directions.
It was different enough. I really enjoyed it. It kept me guessing, you know, like not guessing, but I guess just kind of.
I think someone was saying that it's on target to be one of the most popular Netflix TV series
which
of all
is
time.
ridiculous. It's huge.
Which I love that because it's
me
not
too.
fucking Western.
Yeah, and also just because it's like kind of an original, you know, story. It's not a remake of Marvel or something. You know, another Marvel remake.
It's only a remake of Battle Royale. It's not a.
But this is and also, you know what's great about that show? When I was watching it, I was admiring the set design, and I was thinking, I was thinking, these geniuses have taken one fucking warehouse studio and just shot the whole movie basically in this studio, just rebuilt the set a bunch of times. You know, this is my assumption.
Yeah,
just rebuilt the set a bunch of times. Like, so all of the sets are sort of the same, are basically the same place. Just, you know,
redone in all
the
these
same one or two studios. You know.
Yeah, I reckon it's like 5 different studios, but I agree with what you're saying. And
it can still be one studio production. You can have 5 studios in one, production house.
But yeah, the production design was one of the huge highlights of this. The sort of the creation of the sets, what they look like. And how sort of unique and interesting they were. You know, clearly huge...
do you know what the budget was?
I don't.
Because I don't either.
Well,
sorry.
What I understand, it was one of the biggest budgeted...
Tyler's frantically Googling it now.
It was one of the biggest budgeted Korean television series of all time.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much allegedly Netflix is... I did read that they sunk $700 million into... non-US speaking TV series,
Right,
because
but not all into that one.
not all into that one, because essentially everywhere keeps doing things better than Westerners do.
Yeah, well, basically what's happened is the world gets our shtick now. They've got the shtick. They've got the Western shtick. They're like, yeah, I get it now. I liked it for a lot of decades. It was cool. I enjoyed it. It had some original stuff. It really shaped a lot of what we do now. But I get the shtick now with this American stuff.
Well, I feel like the shtick is Marvel movies.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, cool. We kind of got it.
And
These guys, we sort of get what they do now. We get what they do now over there. So anyway, we're kind of doing stuff. We're building on that, and we're taking it in a different direction. But good luck following that one.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Exactly. It was Elon Musk that said that. Shout out to Elon Musk. He's a 6150.
Did he say that in one of his speeches
no,
or something?
but he should. He
He
should.
may as well
He
reference
definitely should.
Back to the Future.
It would be funny and cool if he did. People would love it. Elon, if you're listening, that's a free bit of advice from Guy and Harley. Yeah. I have got 2 events coming up that I would love it if the Sifty 150 listeners would tune into. All right. So I've got 2 events coming up. The first one is on the 14th, Thursday the 14th of October at 8 p.m. It's called Meet the Festivals. So this is New Zealand time. I have already shared it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, but it is called Meet the Festivals, and it's a film festival event where we chat, where I chat in this very studio via Zoom to a panel of 3 other filmmakers, film festival directors from around the world. I don't have my blurb in front of me, but yeah, so anyway, tune in. It's going to be fun, and basically what we're going to talk about is filmmaking in the post-COVID world and how it affects people's festival strategies and how it, has affected filmmaking in general, in their opinion, from a film festival director's perspective. So it's quite interesting if you're looking to get your short film submitted into film festivals. This is going to be interesting because it's going to be me talking to 3 people that run film festivals from all around the world about exactly this. So that's on Thursday the 14th at 8 p.m. I'll share it on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, or just look up Show Me Shorts Film Festival and search for Meet the Festivals. The other one I've got coming up is on the 19th, Tuesday the 19th. You're putting this down in your diary. I'm going to be doing it again from this very studio, and it's going to be me talking to 3 filmmakers. We're going to play each film and then do a Q&A with each filmmaker afterwards. We've got 3 films by 3 New Zealand filmmakers. 2 New Zealand filmmakers and 1 Australian filmmaker. And we are going to be talking to them about how they made their film. I'll be hosting it, but we can also take questions from you guys as well. So if you've got any questions about film distribution and how it's been affected in the post-COVID world, or if you want to watch some short films and then talk to the short filmmakers, tune in for those.
Gregory Buttocks,
shout out to Mr. Buttocks.
Ask, can we ask questions? Of course you can, Gregory.
Gregory, that's what we're here for, mate. So yes, please do check those out. I'm going to share them on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and they're 2 separate and fun events. And my plan, why I'm excited about these events actually, is because what they originally were was basically a Zoom webinar. And that's it. And you just tune into a Zoom webinar, you watch me and 3 other faces, and we talk about stuff. But what I'm hoping to do with the studio is make it much more like a show. And so the short film talk has got a technical producer who's running the show not through OBS, which is the program we use for this live stream, but running it through a program called Livestream and a big piece of hardware that's designed for this so that it doesn't compress the films down as much and that type of thing. It should be like a high quality broadcast from this live stream. And so I'm hoping to kind of like keep it to a schedule. It's got a run sheet, and it's basically a real show with a beginning, middle, and end. So that's what kind of excites me. We've got everything we need, all the puzzle pieces to make this a live broadcasting studio for kind of cool events like Q&As and other stuff like that.
Yeah, they're just going to give us some fucking money.
Well, I'm getting paid. So what's the problem?
Tyler Adams says $16.7 million US for Squid Game. To me, that is
16.7.
That's cheap.
Yeah. Well, that's no, that seems. I mean, I don't really know, but that seems about right.
In my head, I was like, 50?
No, when I saw those sets, I was like, this is genius. This is genius. They've taken a bunch of actors and put them in one, TV studio, bunked them up in a bloody hotel next door, and rebuilt these sets every now and then. And, I was thinking I thought maybe 10 million, I think is kind of what I was picturing.
That's modest, mate.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's like a $10 million production. Because
New
I don't know these people.
New Zealand TV shows cost $10 million.
Yeah.
For a bunch of people sitting around in a fucking room like this talking.
Yeah, but they're in a studio. That's like they're standing around in a studio. But every set is a studio.
No, it's not. There's all those night scenes and street scenes.
All right. They did
out
have
on
a bunch
the island.
there is some stuff that's not in the studio. All right,
There's a huge
but a huge part of the show is set in the studio. Huge part.
So, Richard thinks it's super cheap. I agree. Pandy G says, "Hey Harley, I want to be an AV director. I want to shoot the best AV ever."
Well, good on you,
Pandy G.
Good on you, Pandy G.
Believe in your dreams.
Yeah, good. Good for you. Look, what's an AV director doing? Are you talking about directing AV events, like live corporate events?
I think he's talking about an adult video.
Ah, adult video. I was like AV as in audio visual, because I'm not a pervert. So
you see, I am.
To figure out which one of us is a perv.
You see, I am.
You'll have to let us know what you're talking about. If you're talking about AV, I mean, I can hook you up a job, bro. We can figure out some AV work for you, no problem. I don't know if I can make you the director yet, but you can work your way up.
You're not ready to be director. You're only
gotta
ready to be a runner at this point.
But if you're talking about live AV on corporate events, the bar is actually quite low, and I believe in you. So you can get in there. So you have to let us know. Otherwise, adult video. What's the actual question?
Oh, he's just saying he wants to be the best.
Oh.
He wants to make the best one ever.
All right. Well, look, power to you, mate. Power to you. Chatterbait. Chatterbait is where people are getting rich nowadays. Chatterbait is what you want to be doing. You don't want to be doing that old-fashioned porn where you're going and paying somebody. No. No, that's new wave porn. The old-fashioned porn is sleazy producer in Hollywood, and they get these people together and make them do all these things in this gross place, and they and the producer takes all the money and all that type of thing. That's where porn was born, right? But now Chatterbait and all this, and the internet, it's just like everything. It's like Uber, right? The internet has made it that you can have, the Uber of porn where you just work for yourself from home. And so you got to work through that platform. See what I'm saying?
I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Trade me etiquette.
Yeah.
Okay. I purchased a lens
Uh-huh.
at 8 p.m. yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't how you can do a buy now? I didn't do a buy now.
Okay.
The auction ended with my bid being the top one.
Okay.
And in fact, my bid being the only one.
Okay.
It's 8 p.m. 8:01 p.m.
Uh-huh.
I send an email. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Let me know shipping costs and I'll transfer the money. Right? Sent this through the message where you give them your address. And I also send it independently as another email.
Mm-hmm.
It is now, at the time of recording, 6:47 p.m. Almost a full 24 hours since winning this auction. Have not heard from this person. To me, this is bad trade me ship. To me, this is look, if the person, if neither of us has made contact, okay, fuck, whatever. But if the person who has purchased has said, hey, let me know the full amount and I will transfer it to you, and this auction is closing. You don't have 500 auctions going. So that yesterday someone was going to buy this thing. Someone has bought this thing. And you're leaving them on fucking hold?
Well...
What are your thoughts? Is this still... Am I getting uppity too
has it
early?
been 24 hours? Is that what you're saying?
It'll be 24 hours in essentially 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Well, how much is this thing that you're buying worth?
$445.
$445. It is quite a lot. It's a fair purchase. It's a fair sum.
It's not like I'm buying a pair of old sneakers.
Yeah. Well, I feel like 24 hours is fine. I don't feel like it's too bad.
Are you
personally.
serious?
Yeah, it depends.
Fuck's sake, man.
They've got a life. It depends if they're a professional seller or if there's someone like me that bangs something up on Trade Me and goes, hey, I'll check on that next week.
Fucking Richard doesn't get back to people for days. What's wrong with you, Richard?
Yeah, well, if they want it,
You have 7 days to make contact. Ain't nobody got time for that.
So have you paid for it? It's paid
No,
for.
I want to pay for it.
Ah, I see. So that's why you're upset because
I'm
you're not
just-
like, oh, it's just on its way and it'll come sometime.
yeah.
You're like, I don't know if it's bought or not.
I want to get this shit in motion.
Yeah.
I'm upset that there's been no communication.
Yeah.
But yes, he
Is
is
this
right.
your import of sex toys side hustle?
Well,
You've been importing $445 worth of sex toys for resale.
it's a very expensive sex toy.
Yeah, well, it's one cheap sex toy, depending on your sex toys.
Yeah, you do have 7 days, but I'm not talking about the actual law of Trade Me. I'm talking about etiquette.
Yeah.
And to me, this is a gross breach of Trade Me etiquette at this point. Just spill that in this. Just spill that all over the studio.
Sorry.
So to me,
There's nothing.
nothing pisses
electronic
me
down
off
there.
more than people not getting back to me
Mm.
in this kind of interaction. Do you want a good fucking rating? Just fucking send an email, cunt. Is it really that hard?
But we've all got busy lives, right?
This is the thing. We're on lockdown.
I know. But what about this? Sometimes you're busy and one of your low priorities is selling some piece of shit that you don't care about anymore. And you're like, all right, cool, I'm selling this fucking thing. And then some goober buys it. And then you're like, all right, cool. Well,
This
look, I'm
is
fucking
real
busy.
money we're talking
Yeah,
about.
$445. But what if this person's rich? What is this thing?
It's a lens.
A lens. He doesn't give a shit. He's in the lens hawking business. He hawks lenses. He doesn't give a shit.
I'm
It's
disgusted.
just another $445 for him.
I'm disgusted. What I think is this. This is my conspiracy theory.
Okay.
This guy was thinking, because these lenses are valued at quite a lot more than $445.
Yeah.
So this fucking dipshit was like, yeah, I'm just going to put it on Tramex and go for like $800, $900,
And now
maybe $1,000.
And now he doesn't care.
And then nobody bid it up. He'd already set the reserve, and then he sold it and he's like, oh, fuck. These are going for way more. I don't want to give this to this guy. Maybe I just won't send him an email and see what happens.
Well, I've got an interesting and for you disconcerting Trade Me story from one of our occasional listeners who's going to remain he's going to remain nameless, but I'll let you know that he's
Like the one that suggested you have bubble tea.
But I'll let you know that he lives in Sydney.
Yeah.
And so he recently contacted me and said, "Hey, by the way, I'm doing this Trade Me auction. I'm overseas. I'm in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm doing this Trade Me auction. Can you buy this camera for me?
Yeah.
All right, and it's thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I was at work doing something. There was something. It was like I was actually really busy, so I was kind of like, okay, I'm sort of paying attention to this. But are you asking me to spend like thousands of dollars and then you pay me back for a lens or something? And then I was busy. I didn't get back to him straight away. I was in contact, but I didn't agree straight away. And then it turned out later on that was definitely one of those scams.
Yeah.
And it was him. It was really him. It wasn't not him. It wasn't a hacker asking me for money. It was that the Trade Me auction was a fake auction, and what was being sold was a $40,000 camera a $20,000 camera for $10,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was a lot of money, which is obviously what gave me pause. And then so it turned out that this was a scammer one, but luckily he didn't put the money through or anything like that. But he wanted me to do it at the time.
Do the deal.
He couldn't get a hold of his relative in New Zealand who was going to do it for him at the time. So it was like, can I do it because it was about to close or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've done that for him.
Yeah. Well,
Guess what? I contacted that seller.
Yeah, you
within-
contact them straight away.
way before 24 hours.
It's interesting that this was a confirmed $10,000 scam though that got taken down by Trade Me.
Oh, there's quite a few, you see quite a few of those. There's basically a guy that does it specifically with cameras on Trade Me. So if you're a Trade Me enthusiast like myself, you'll see these pop up, these dubious ones.
Yeah.
And there'll be some trigger warnings.
Yeah.
Such as that the person is obviously brand new, so it's a brand new account.
No reviews and all that.
Secondly, that they don't allow pickup.
Mm.
And it must be bank transfer.
Yeah, right.
Right? So you got to transfer the money and it'll get sent to you.
Yeah. Well, no, really.
We'll see
We'll
you
see
there.
What's your name again? I'll write that down.
Because normally when you maybe do one of those giant transactions, you want to go there in person and get it and have a look that it's all right before you money exchanges hands.
Yeah.
So this is what this guy does, but they've shut him down a few times. I've reported him. That specific guy was doing it for a while. But anyway, to me, this is a Trade Me conspiracy, and this guy don't want to give me my fucking lens. Not happy. 24 hours? Come on, eBay, Tyler. Come on, you must agree with me. You got to get in contact straight away. If the person contacts you, you can't just leave him hanging in the breeze.
So what's this lens for?
Filming.
Just stuff. You need it urgently?
I mean,
Or
do I need it urgently?
yeah.
No.
What?
I mean, objectively, no.
Yeah.
No.
In the grand scheme of things,
no,
not
I
really.
don't.
No, yeah. Okay.
But it defeats the point. If I've set aside this money, I need to know my money's going out or it gets spent on something else.
Yeah, well, look, it's fair enough.
I
think he just doesn't give a shit. I think it's like when I sell something on Trade Me, I'm like, fuck you guys. Fuck you all. I don't give a shit. Take it or leave it. I don't give a fuck, cunt.
Piece of shit.
Just hurry the fuck up.
You piece
just
of
make a decision.
shit.
This is such an irrelevance to my life right now. Hurry the fuck up. So yeah, I don't really want, I'm not too much of a rush.
Richard says, Trade Me is a squid game. Always has been. Trade Me making millions off shit service. You're damn right they are. You're fucking damn right they are. I sold a camera on Trade Me the other day. I don't know if we talked about this on the last podcast. I sold and essentially the person that bought it was going to drop it into a fucking volcano.
Ooh, that's bad for the environment.
Well, they're going to pick it back up.
Oh, I see. So they're going
to drop it into the volcano,
Yeah.
get the shot. It was probably going to smash.
Yeah.
But they'd pull whatever was smashed back up.
Yeah.
And then,
What? Try to save the card or something?
No, so the card would
run
be
a cable.
transferred remotely or on a
they
cable
run
or
a
something,
cable,
whatever. So they're still getting it, even if the whatever was on there was gone.
Yeah.
And then they're going to bring it back up.
Yeah, and see what's left. Yeah, well, that's interesting. I mean, it's a hell of a way to go.
It's a hell of a way for a camera to
the
go.
sacrificial camera, but I mean, it is in the advancement of science, in some respects.
See what
in some
happens in
ways.
the volcano.
Yeah, I mean, we need to document a lot of things for the future internet archaeologists, and this will be among them. What it looked like in a volcano in 2021. So
plus anything that remained in there would probably just melt.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it would melt, but all that would happen is it would release those gases and they'd go up into the atmosphere. Doesn't matter whether you burn it in a volcano or in the fire in the backyard. Still got in.
True.
Same shit.
True.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more person on Trade Me got back to me 7 days, probably a week later.
Right. So you're saying that 2 out of 3 people disagree with you?
No. So this fucking...
Because they don't reply straight away.
This dipshit, right? Same deal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it was for, a $40 thing. It was in fact for a prop that you just used.
So it was worth he gave even less of a shit than the $400 guy.
But this guy, I was like, cool, man, but a whole thing about Trade Me is some degree of promptness.
Why do you think that?
If
you've got 7 days,
I'm a Trade Me fucking guru, mate.
Yeah.
I have only ever had this one guy wait 7 days to reply to my email.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that,
look,
I was like,
I'm not
fuck,
saying it's
mate.
not annoying.
So let me point this out, right? I got that same thing on Trade Me, sent to me, and in my hands before he replied to me.
Yeah.
So I just bought it again on Trade Me because he took so fucking long.
So let me get this straight.
7 days, kill yourself, mate.
You
got
bought
better
something.
chance of you fucking Jesus.
So you bought something. It took 7 days for him to reply, which is within the rules.
No, it's not.
And
You've got to
then-
respond within 3 days.
Oh, so he didn't respond. Well, that's different.
Yeah, he didn't respond. Of course he didn't respond.
Oh, okay. Well, 7 days. I thought you were saying like that.
And
there
then
was
in a
7-day
week
rule.
he goes. He's
I thought
on
you were saying
lockdown.
there's a 7-day
By
rule.
the way, he's in Auckland, so he's in lockdown with
Yeah.
us all, right?
Yeah, he's got nothing else.
And
to do.
he goes. It was like, hey man.
It's World of Warcraft.
It was like, hey man, sorry, not good at getting back to people. Haha. And I was
Yeah.
like, fuck off, mate. I ain't buying that no more.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
7 days.
Yeah.
Stop taking the piss, Richard.
Yeah.
This is your fault.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the
Hey, on
problematic
you
trade me
snooze,
person.
You lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Time to wrap it up.
Well, it's a shame because it's a bit of good banter, but if we don't have any more topics and if the listeners don't have any more topics for us, then
Yeah.
I'm all out of notes.
Tyler Adams says, I want everyone on eBay to treat my purchase like Tom Hanks treats a package in Castaway. Goddamn right. Goddamn right.
Shout out to Tyler Adams for also sending me through the highlights from the last show as well. Times for those highlights. That's something I brought up on air. Hey, if anybody out there would like to, if you chuckle about something, if there's something you enjoy and you think, hey, that 1 minute, because it's got to be 1 minute long-ish, that 1 minute could be was a funny moment that made me chuckle. Let me know when. I'll clip it out and I'll upload it as a highlight, and then bam, we'll have 1 million followers.
Who doesn't get an email like instantaneously on their phone?
Yeah,
Who is not getting emails on their phone now?
yeah.
Are any of us at that stage?
But if I see something from Trade Me in my emails, I'm like, okay, I don't, unless I really need the money or I really care and this is a priority for me, it's like, I'm like, man, whatever, okay, I'll sort that out. Obviously that's on my list of shit that I'm going to sort out or add it onto the list. I'm not going to rush and do it right now. Oh no, this guy picked his on the lens from me. I better send him the lens. No rush.
Yeah, no rush. But let's keep it
But
within
24 hours is
24
okay.
hours.
Look, I mean, I agree. I would respond.
Of course you would.
I'd be like, hey, yep, cool, it's on the way, thanks so much.
Well,
but also,
this-
I give a shit because I want to get it done out the way. I don't care, like I just want it to be easy when I'm, I just want
I've made it
done.
easy.
I don't care.
I've made it easy.
Yeah. Well, look, I hear what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're putting down. All right.
Did you finish the chair, by the way?
Oh no, I'm still on episode 2.
Come on, mate.
So
Come on.
look, we'll get there. But Squid Game came up. Squid Game took up all the time. So Squid Game took up all the time. There was no time for these academics and working in a university and a sitcom. The sitcom of these academics working in a university called The Chair. So I was like, all right, I'll work on it. But what I like about it is the episodes are short. They're like half-hour episodes. So I am going to finish it. I'm going to do it out of respect for Jason P. Diddy Combs, long-time listener. I'm going to do it out of respect. I'm going to finish it. And also because you said it was good. That honestly, I was like, okay, cool. If Guy says it's good, I'll probably get it by the end. But so far, I'm like, cool, it's fine. I like it. I mean, I've got better shit to do.
I also want to take a moment to rage about a TV show, actually.
Okay, do you mind if I pee while you rage? Cause
Yeah, we're going to be a while.
all right, that's great. That's what we need.
I'm going to be a while. So
I'll smoke a doobie.
I know we've already mentioned this on the podcast before, but there is a new TV series called Midnight Mass. Now, Midnight Mass is by Mike Flanagan, who did The House on Haunted Hill, which I consider one of the best horror TV series, if not the best horror TV series, certainly that I've ever seen. And he also did The Lady in the Lake, I think it's called, which was actually equally good in a kind of different and interesting way. So he's done these two back-to-back classics. He's also done, or at least back-to-back Netflix classics at least. I know the bar is a bit low with Netflix, but it's TV, so they do good TV. So he's a good horror director, and he's actually done a bunch of interesting horror films before that, including, I believe, Hush, which is like an awesome kind of slasher film with this unique twist, which is that the person in question, the main protagonist, is deaf. So what the fuck does that mean to, this horror environment when you can't hear the person. They could be right fucking behind you. You can't hear them. And what does that mean in context of, like a horror? So they've taken it in this really unique, awesome way. That's Mike Flanagan. And so I didn't know about this, but there was this thing for Midnight Mass, which is this new TV series on Netflix. And I was like, what is this about? A preacher comes into this small town. Oh, I don't give a fuck. And then I heard that it was by writer-director, showrunner Mike Flanagan. And I was like, oh, suddenly I give the most fucks of all.
What did he make again?
He made Doctor Sleep, the actually pretty reasonable sequel to The Shining. He's made Hush, the horror film, which I was just talking about how good it was. He's also made The House on Haunted Hill, or The Hill House Haunting, or whatever the fuck it's called, which is the best horror TV series on Netflix. So he's done some good shit. But, and you're not going to like this, Harley.
Okay. He
decided to bring religion into it.
Oh, that always puts me off a movie. That's why I can't enjoy Mel Gibson movies anymore.
TV series, but yeah. So anyway, this Midnight Mass
show, whatever, same shit,
is essentially his latest TV series, which is very loosely about vampires, set within the context of this small community. And you know all the residents here of this community, and then a vampire is in their midst, right? That's kind of...
Is it like gritty and real, like sort of Private Ryan and Game of Thrones?
There is nothing,
or is it
there
more
is
like,
nothing,
is it like
there is nothing real
Bewitched.
about this fucking TV show, but it's not Bewitched.
Yeah.
It's meant to be scary.
Yeah,
scary.
right.
So Tyler Adams thinks it's good at Ep 4. To me, this is shitty filmmaking 101, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing. It's got a very good rating, so I'm a bit of a contrarian here.
Yeah, well, what a shock.
Whereas me and my girlfriend watched it, and we detested it. We thought it was terrible. I kept waiting.
But how many episodes did you
7.
have to watch to
7.
decide before you said it was detestable?
So the first episode...
And why didn't you give up
First
then?
episode, I was like, this is not very good, but it's by someone I really love and respect.
Yeah.
So I've got to give it a chance.
Got to give it a hoon.
2 and 3, I was like, okay, we're not... I was like, maybe 3, I was like, okay, we're kind of picking up steam here. We're going to get into the horror part of this horror TV series soon. I can feel it. I can see it. All the building blocks are there. Well, no. What the fuck happened was essentially it's a series of long, boring, drawn out meditations on death and religion that are the most basic bitch, fucking philosophical ideas of these things that you could possibly think about, wrapped inside a religious, hey man, do you believe in God or don't you believe in God? Well, because if you do this and if you don't that, and hey, guess what? We've got opposing views, us two characters, and we're going to tell each other about them. And we're going to come to understand each other better through these different perspectives, man. And it's the biggest load of horse shit that I've ever fucking watched. Nothing scary ever fucking happens. But what's worse, like this is to me, like this is the type of thing that if Guy Pig, the director, goes, sweet, I've got Midnight Mass for y'all. Hit you with it right now. Take this, motherfuckers. And they all look at me and go, Guy, this is a piece of shit. You personally are a piece of shit for making this. And we have lost respect for you as a filmmaker for doing this thing. But because someone who was in a...
Who said that? Who would say that?
Anyone who watched it, if I made this, if
right.
I made
yes,
it,
I see.
right?
Yes.
But because this guy, this horror, part of the horror elite has made it, people go, oh, so genius, meditative, contemplative, thoughtful.
Yeah.
It's all, the juxtaposition.
So is it like a Bible thumping evangelical type thing,
So
or is it more like a what's it Ridge? Heartbreak Ridge? What's it called? That war one? with Dos, the fucking medic.
What? Heartbreak Ridge. Are you talking about that war film?
Yeah. That's too much. It was too
Mel Gibson.
It was too on the
Christ
nose.
metaphor.
It was super on the nose.
This is a little bit different because this is about a sort of a God-fearing community.
Okay.
So it's all going to be put in that context.
Yeah.
But it's basically about this
Hacksaw Ridge. Thank you,
Ridge.
runs with scissors. Thank you.
But it's basically
Heartbreak Ridge.
What is Heartbreak if you watch it?
Well, it wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't
but
terrible.
Wasn't
but it was just
it was better than this.
On the nose religious stuff that was like, oh, come on.
It was, and so
get it out of my face.
But essentially,
zip it back up, Mel.
A lot of this stuff is just it's literally we're sitting, right, watching a priest, deliver a sermon.
Yeah,
we're just watching that.
Yeah,
that's what we're watching.
Yeah,
we're literally sitting in church.
Yeah.
We are sitting in fucking church.
Yeah.
And somehow, because it's like, oh, well, it's got vampires.
Yeah.
We go, oh, no, but it's cool because vampires are
right.
in it.
Yeah.
The vampires never fucking do anything till like the last fucking episode.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
So it's...
Well, it's not really about the supernatural by the sounds of
it.
Well, I mean, it is.
But it's meant to be a
of
horror,
religion.
but there's no horror in it.
Yeah.
The horror is sitting through these fucking sermons.
Yeah.
Right? And also, like... The whole thing is like, you know, it's a meditation on death, Harley. It's a meditation on religion. Well, the meditation is fucking stupid. They're not meditating about anything good. They're not meditating any new ideas here. And so anyway, I kept watching because of my belief. My religious belief and Mike Flanagan, the director,
religion, not even once,
kept me
religion
watching
poisons
through
everything.
the whole thing, waiting. But if anything, it got worse. But also the other big problem with it, which is like no one is talking about, is that essentially I go, "Hey Harley, what's going on?"
Not much, bro.
Hey, cool. I'm going to tell you a 20-minute story right now.
Okay.
Just you and I. We're going to use some weird camera angles to make it slightly more interesting.
Oh, that makes sense. If only we had the black magic set up, we could cut right now.
So we're going to more angles. We've got this, but we're going to have some weird angles. But essentially, I'm just going to tell the story. You're never going to see anything in the story. It's just me talking. My acting is going to be kind of wooden. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit wooden. The dialogue's somewhat stilted, almost as if someone was trying to illustrate their philosophy on life through the stilted dialogue. Is that going to be all right with you? And you're going to respond with your own stilted philosophical thoughts on life.
Okay.
We're both going to sit here. We're going to use weird angles. So probably the weird angles will distract the fact that we just sat here talking for 20 minutes about fucking nothing interesting. That happens twice every episode.
Okay. Like The Walking Dead.
Way worse than The Walking Dead because at least some zombies are going to attack every now and again.
Yeah.
And those,
that is a bit like the Jesus story.
But those meditations on life in The Walking Dead are like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
These are like half the episode.
Yeah.
Hey, what happens when you...
Well, what religion is it?
Like, you know,
Christianity.
You know, like, yeah. But it's like, hey, what do you...
Christianity.
Like, literally, this is one of them. Hey, what do you imagine happens when you die? Oh, well, you know, all the gods.
Is one of them an atheist?
Yeah.
Or are they, is an atheist versus...
atheist versus a Christian,
versus
of
theist.
course. So it's like, okay.
Right.
So
a
this
theist
is why...
versus an atheist.
Here's my atheist version.
Oh,
but it's beautiful because in the last 5 seconds of life and when my brain is dying, all these magical things in the universe and I come stardust and all that bullshit, okay? That's the atheist version.
Yeah.
Obviously, the religious version, I get to see all my peeps and all that fucking shit.
I get to wash God's feet for eternity.
And I guess what's happened here between this conversation, we've come to understand each other more and we've come to realize that they're both beautiful in their own way. Let's hug it out.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid. It's so... Oh God, I'm having a meltdown.
Well, did you know that he was like so overtly religious before this?
No. Well, here's the thing. I think he's an atheist now. But he came from this heavily religious upbringing.
Ah, so it's about that.
So it's kind of like, hey, this is through my lens.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And
there's on the nose story.
Well, but the thing is, somehow it's become pro. By the end of it, you're like, so what you're telling me is religion is good.
Yeah.
You, the atheist, have somehow put a positive spin on religion. Really, by the end of this. But nothing horror happens. It's just. But what I hate about it is, it's all tell, don't show. Every single episode is a 20-minute monologue
Of tell, don't show.
of tell, don't show,
Yeah.
which is the opposite of what we all learn is most important
Opposite of what's good.
in filmmaking.
Yeah.
And like, there's this other bit where this guy goes, "Hey, you want to hear a story?" This is also when vampires are running wild and stuff, and like crazy shit's happening. And then one of the police officers,
tell me a story.
one of the police officers is I believe like a Muslim or something like that.
Okay.
And he goes, "You know, all this crazy shit's happening, but guess what? You want to know why I left New York? I'm going to tell you a story about racism for 20 minutes. And then guess what happens at the end of this? Guess what happens at the end of this? The person that was listening to the story doesn't even acknowledge the story.
Yeah.
They go, "Yeah, okay, we got to go
Yeah.
because the vampires.
Yeah.
We got to get out of here because of the serious vampire situation.
Yeah.
But thanks for that, guy."
Yeah.
It's so stupid. And everyone loves this. Everyone loves this fucking thing. Like, even my hero, CM Punk,
Yeah.
did a tweet about it. And
Yeah.
he did a tweet. He goes, "Midnight Mass, loved everything, felt everything,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah." And he's like an atheist too,
Yeah.
like he's one of us. But, but he's like, "I loved everything. I felt it on a deep emotional level." And I was like, no, my hero CM Punk is even, he's been tricked.
He's been brainwashed.
He's been brainwashed by this stupid fucking TV show. And I hated this TV show so much and felt it was so insulting
Yeah.
to people's intelligence
Yeah.
that I considered doing essentially what I've just done here
Yeah.
as a YouTube episode
Well,
saying
you can just clip it from the show now.
why Midnight Mass sucks balls and no one is talking about it. And they need to. And I still feel that no one is talking about this and they need to because it's so fucking shit.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I'm glad that you got to get that off your chest, actually. Well, good. The Guy and Harley, the Facebook page, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. That's where this highlight will be going. So, yeah, look, that's good. I mean, so what are you saying? Should I check it out or not?
No, you can't.
I
You
should.
can't waste that. You can't waste that time in your life.
Yeah.
And it will just make.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to watch the trailer.
But look, it's a cool. That's the thing. It is a cool concept.
Yeah.
Like the concept that essentially vampirism infects religious, a deeply religious thing.
Yeah.
And the priest kind of uses religion to justify
Yeah.
the vampirism.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah. Well, it's
Too
also
bad about those fucking monologues.
It's also a cool idea that the church has been infested by vampires with the whole like eating, the body of Christ and drinking the blood of Christ.
Which.
That's a great, cool story, that
But
at the top is a vampire. And
you're right. But
the entry level is you drink wine. But of course, you work your way up. You're drinking human, infant
also,
baby
that's
blood.
The thing is, like, every time like a bad vampire thing happens, we get to hear the priest do a sermon on why it's cool. Because religion.
Yeah.
And he's just comparing it to religion.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we fucking get it, man.
Yeah.
We fucking get it. Also, I'm just going to get just one more thing.
Okay.
Everyone has essentially, because they get better by becoming vampires or being introduced by vampire blood, right?
Okay.
What
do you mean they get better?
As in they get younger.
Oh, so
heal,
so if they become a vampire, they get sexy again.
Yeah, or they get because that's what vampires immortality, right?
Would you be a vampire if you were in that interview with a vampire situation and you're sitting there and Christian Bale was the host, wasn't he? But Tom Cruise was the
Tom Cruise introduced Brad Pitt to vampirism.
Yes, exactly. So Tom Cruise is sitting there, and Tom Cruise, this beautiful man, is hovering above you, and he says, "Look, you're either going to die now, or I'm going to curse you with all of this, but you'll also remain young and beautiful, and in fact, will feel yourself getting younger and more beautiful, and you'll feel great, generally speaking, as long as
you sleep at night.
You sleep at night, sleep during the day,
You sleep during the day.
and you kill people for your own personal sustenance
all the time.
You've got to eat, whether it's once a day or what." And so what would you do?
It really all depends how it was phrased to me.
What if it was phrased like that?
Well,
what if I was the vampire and I just told you now?
Yeah, if it was phrased like that, I'd go, I'm going to have to leave it.
Yeah, you'd be like, nah, I'm just going to die
I'm going to have to just die.
I'm just gonna go now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to.
I don't know. I'd be pretty tempted.
I'm sure you would.
I think I'd be like, yeah, I'll give it a hoon. I mean, there must be lots of bad people I can kill, right? You know, like I'll just kill bad people. I'll literally become a vigilante hunting for pedophiles. I'll be a pedophile slaughterer. I'll eat pedophiles.
Here's a great
and live and be young.
That's a great idea for a thing, which is essentially Dexter mixed with vampires.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's a good concept.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the other big stupid dumb shit thing about Midnight Mass is the special effects makeup.
Yeah.
So rather than just cast two sets of people, your old people, your young people.
Yeah.
They just have people that are like 20 play 80-year-old people with super fake fucking prosthetics that don't look like real at all. And they're like it's literally like me going, "Hello, dear.
Like you and me
I'm 80 years old, of course, because you can see by my slow movements and everything. I'm sure you're fooled by this." And it's like, no one's fooled. Clearly you're a young person pretending to be old, because only old people can move about looking old because they're old.
Yeah.
We're not old, so we don't understand.
Yeah.
We're relative to our age. We can't act really old. You can't act like you're 80.
I think I might be able to, actually.
Well,
back's quite sore nowadays.
And so the makeup is like them all like starting off in this weird old age prosthetics that you kind of like, why does everyone look all fucked up and weird and fake? And then obviously as things progress, you go, oh, they're getting younger, they're getting better, they're getting healthier. But like there's real obvious stuff too, like, hey, guess what? I've got a sore back. But guess what? In 2 episodes, I'm going to be rocking around like this.
Yeah.
It's just pure silliness.
Yeah.
It's just pure. I can't handle it. But what I can't handle is how everyone loves it. Because to me, there's so many things that people like us would be crucified for if we did it. But once you get to a certain point, everyone goes, "Man's a genius."
Yeah.
The man's a genius.
Yeah.
And obviously I've been shitting on Mike Flanagan for a solid 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I do want to preface that by saying I love some of the shit he's done. It's literally one of my favorite Netflix shows, or 2 of my favorite Netflix shows of all time. He's done amazing shit. But there comes a point in every great director's life where he, does a shit one. Spielberg, Lucas.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
What was your one?
I haven't got to it yet. I've only been making classics.
I see.
I've been making classics, but sometime I'll make a dud.
Yeah, right.
I don't know when it will be.
But at some
point. It hasn't happened yet. But the dud will come at some point. It hasn't happened yet. It's just up and up.
At some point, though, and it's expected. It's just a bump in the road. And you're ready for it. He's a smart guy. He's prepared.
I understand that this happens to us all. So, yeah. So Tyler says his other shows had a ton of monologues, but they were better. That's the thing, is like this is the only one that he has written, and I feel his pretentious writing in everything here, whereas the other ones he had like real good writers to write his shit, and I feel like there's a difference there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what happened when I wrote a pretentious monologue?
What happened?
I
had to act it.
I cut it the fuck down, so it was no longer monologue or pretentious.
Yeah.
I just gave up because I realized
it was just a log.
It was more of just a log that I dropped in that movie.
Yeah, well, look, you know how we talked about how it's a great movie idea, this concept of a person who gets offered the chance to be a vampire,
and he becomes
a vigilante, serial killer who only kills bad people, pedophiles, and so forth. Well, I've got another movie idea that came to me last night in a dream. Okay?
You know what? Okay.
You ready? So Earth is rotating, and we get an alien spore, a fungus.
Yeah.
Okay. This fungus comes down and it lands all sort of over the planet. And it starts off small little funguses down in the dirt, and it just slowly spreads. Now, in the forest, in some forests that have lots of fungi, or fungi, however you say that, there is big interlocking webs underneath the dirt where these funguses are all talking to each other at the floor of the forest. And so this fungus comes down and it starts spreading around over kilometers and kilometers and kilometers, and it's microscopic. It's not really a big deal. And it spreads out, and we don't even really know it's there. And then one day, it wakes up and goes into its breeding cycle. And by this point, it's all interlocked and it's underneath our societies and so forth. And it's all in the earth. And when it gets hungry, basically what it does is it moves the earth around it, opens up the earth, and you fall into it, and it eats you. You get sucked down into it. So people were at the park with their dog, and dogs are running around and taking shits, and the pitter-patter is very attractive to this, this fungus. And so the fungus then opens up and eats the dog. That's how sort of it begins, and then dog walkers everywhere start disappearing. Everyone's like, where are the dog walkers? All the dog owners are gone, and the cat owners are like, yeah, well, they had it coming. And then so... yeah, that's the whole story, really. That's that's really the setup. That's the setup. So there's a fungus that eats people, but it's under the earth, and it's all interlocked and talking to itself.
Yeah, I mean, it does remind me of essentially
Tremors.
And
but it's a fungus.
Yeah,
not a worm.
No, that's the thing. You also described a script that I read called The Kral.
Osmosis.
Which I read as a script reader, which was one of the few scripts that I ever recommended for production when I was working at a production house.
Hey, there you go. It was me that sent that in, actually. I sent it in to you.
It wasn't
at Scala Productions.
It wasn't a fungus. It was just essentially a grass monster. It was like Jaws in the grass.
Yeah.
But like the concept being that like you weren't, grassy areas.
Yeah.
Dirt.
Stay away from that shit.
Not safe.
Yeah.
This monster's going to eat you.
Yeah.
They're not exactly the same, but
No.
there are definitely some similarities.
Yeah. But you can see why a fungus would want to have a whole human under the earth.
You weren't playing The Last of Us.
I haven't played that. But picture it, a human falls into the earth and gets covered up by more earth, right? It's going to rot in there. It's the perfect place to grow some fungus, I guess. I assume. I don't know anything about funguses.
Richard, Runs with Scissors says, what if the fungi learn to skateboard? He's still on the skateboarding movie.
No, look, I mean, that could be cool.
He's really
it really depends what kind of film we go for. If we go for a gritty horror, then no. But if it's a comedy horror, then sure.
And Tyler Adams is working on some CG fungi. I've got some CG for Tyler Adams to work on, actually.
Well, actually, did I tell you the name?
Of the movie?
Yeah. This all came to me in a dream last night.
Yeah. I
swear to God, I dreamt all of this last night. Yeah. The name is I Survived a Fungi Holocaust.
So, but how do they beat it?
Well,
pour some chemicals into the ground.
Pesticide.
they
spray some pesticide.
1080 over the whole thing.
1080 the whole.
They 1080 the whole area.
Yeah. And Agent Orange, some Agent Orange and some 1080, the whole Earth, and then they win. But we live in a desolate desert because all the animals and plants have been killed. So it's a tragedy at the end of it all.
Yeah, Tyler Adams remembers that Revenge of the Turd had a good monologue. Look, I'm not against monologues, Tyler. I am against 3 monologues.
I saw it there. Ancient.
Stinky.
Rotten. Putrid. I looked down into that grass and what looked at me, back at me.
Shook me to my very
Shook
core.
me to my very core. Beelzebub, the king shit himself or herself, maybe.
Stared into that brown eye.
I stared into that brown eye, and what looked back at me shook me to my very core. It was as if Beelzebub himself was staring back at me. That's all I remember. Ugly, rotten, putrid. Check that out if you haven't seen it yet. That's on our Pigville YouTube channel. Search for Revenge of the Turd. TURD, a classic. Revenge of the Turd. And if you want to see it in context, watch our web series, The Project.
Monologues are fine, just not 3 per episode. And not every episode. You got to let those monologues distance away from each other and hit at exactly the right time. And Mike Flanagan forgot all about it. All about it.
Well,
I'd give up now, Tyler, if I were you, but I know that you're committed exactly like I was committed. So you have to keep going, but I want to save you that time. If I could have it back. If only I could have it back.
I'm on a 9/11 documentary myself, personally. Well, on 9/11 documentaries, it's probably time we ended this episode of the Guy and Harley podcast.
Yeah.
The place to keep up with us, facebook.com/Guy and Harley. If you want to support us financially, you want to pay for these beers, go to patreon.com/Pigville. Also, check out our second feature film, Older. Go to olderfilm.com and there's a link there to buy it, and you can watch it on many platforms, and that really, really helps us. That's kind of the main thing you can do. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search for the Guy and Harley podcast. I really want to get it above 4,000 hours of watch time so that we can monetize the channel. We're currently sitting at around 800 hours of watch time. So it's a bit of a battle. We've got a little way to go, but I'm feeling confident.
We've got some headway.
We've got some things to overcome, some obstacles to overcome, but we're getting there. And so if you could go along to our YouTube channel and hit subscribe and hit follow and, actually watch our videos there, that would really, really help us get that view time up. And then, that's probably about it, I guess.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you next time.
See you later. Well,
don't do it too quickly because we don't want to cut off the end. Oh, yeah.